All right, as promised, I'm back again to think about the sketch of these graphs. So let's try to put in my axes first. There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of straight lines while I have it. And I'll put in some y-axes. All right, so in this case, I see 3 roots. Remember, my roots are when this is equal to 0. So if instead of having y, I have 0, x minus 1, x minus 3, x plus 2, well, that really means that x minus 1 equals 0. Add that 1 to the other side, I would get x equals 1, or 3, or negative 2. So I would make each one of those equal to 0 separately. This means my roots are going to be 1, 3, and negative 2. Hopefully this is starting to come back to you, that it's always going to be the opposite of the sign. So here's my 3 roots, 1, 3, negative 2. Remember, to find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug in x equals 0. So 0 minus 1 times 0 minus 3 times 0 plus 2. That's going to be negative 1 times negative 3 times positive 2, which is going to be positive 6. And in front of this is an imaginary 1, which tells me I'm going to point ending up. So that means I start pointing down, so I'm going to come through my intercept to my other intercept, down, somewhere I'll turn around and come back up. I don't know quite where my turnaround points are going to be. It might not be up here. So that part we don't know for sure. But we do know we're going to have 3 roots and 1 y-intercept. Here we've got 2 roots that are repeated. So remember, if I have x squared, if this whole thing is equal to 0, that means x squared equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. So one of my roots is 0, and in fact that's repeated. The other one is positive 3. Notice I start with a negative 2, so I'm going to be pointing, starting up, ending down. If I plug in 0, I'm going to get 0. I can see my y-intercept is 0. So starting up and pointing down, notice this is x squared. So that means I'm going to bounce when I hit this. So bounce, some point turn around and come back down. Now this one, the only thing I know is that if I plug in x equals 0, my y-intercept is negative 6. But I don't know how this factors, and I don't need to know how it factors because I can use my calculator. The only other thing I know for sure is it's going to have this shape or something like it because this is positive. So let's come to my calculator. I'm going to use it to help me. So I'm going to plug in my y equals a half x cubed. So let's clear out what we have. Make sure that our plots are turned off. So 0.5 x cubed plus 2x minus 6. I don't know how to zoom on this, so I'm just going to start with a standard window. That's going to be negative 10 to 10, negative 10 to 10. All right, there's my y-intercept. So this one is much more of the flat style. Here's my x-intercept. Let's calculate it. So calculate my 0. That's my x-intercept. It looks like it's between negative 1 and 2, but I'm going to say, between 1 and 2. I'm going to use 1 as my left bound and 3 as my right bound just to be on the safe side. It looks like it's at about 1.9, so that's going to be my guess. And 1.72. So somewhere around there, and then it looked something like this. More of a flat-shaped one. Again, using my calculator, that was about 1.72. This value is -6.